TRT World's Editor-at-Large, Ahmed Al-Barai, is here with me. Ahmed, shall we start with Eastern Ghouta? Because the pictures are horrifying. As we've said, activists say it's the worst attacks they've experienced in 5 years. Give us some analysis. How do you see what's happening there?
It is the worst atrocity that we've ever seen since the chemical attack of 2013, where more than 1,000 people were killed in that chemical attack. At the time of Obama, red line was crossed and nothing happened. The international community manifested a complete inaction, a complete paralysis, and it was a kind of a green light to the regime to go on with the atrocities. If the chemical attack was used, 1,000 people were killed, so the number is not that important, and now what's happening is a continuation of that. For the Russians, it's a kind of a collective punishment to Ghouta, simply because the rebels there refused to join the so-called peace talk in Sochi. It was a complete sarcastic comedy where more than 1,000 of the opposition, we don't know who they are, joined the meeting and talked about different things. None of them was interested in halting these kind of atrocities on the ground, protecting children, as the UNICIF is saying. They are out of words to describe the humanitarian, the ignominious conditions on the ground, these heinous crimes that the international community can do nothing but to condemn. This won't help the children on the ground. More than 40 children were killed in these kind of attacks, and the international community can't even evacuate the people, can't open humanitarian corridors to these children to help them. The people on the ground are suffering, and the international community is just watching. We need to ask who is responsible for that. It's not only the Russians, it's not only the Syrian regime, it's also the people on the ground are asking, where is the international community? Where is the United States? Where is Europe? Where is the humanity from this?
Yes, it's interesting you're talking about the political dynamic that allows these kind of attacks to take place, because there is supposedly some sort of peace process going on all over the world. You have Sochi, you have Astana, you have Geneva, you have Zurich. But in terms of what is happening on the ground, is it the Syrian regime's policy, or have there been examples, I should say, of these kind of attacks coming after an agreement that might get civilians out of areas that are going to be attacked? Because at the moment, 400,000 people are living under siege in Eastern Ghouta, and we've talked about the various rebel groups that are there in that Damascus suburb, but surely most of the people living there are innocent civilians. Why can a deal not be done if the regime is going to bomb to get people out before it bombs?
The regime and the Russians know that the people in Ghouta will never forgive what they did, the genocide they're doing right now, and it's very close to the capital, to the presidential palace, and that's why they want to evacuate it. It's a kind of another Aleppo where the rebels are being punished and the civilians are trapped in between. They cannot leave, they cannot move to other. Another scenario is the demographic change of the whole Syrian landscape. They're trying to do this in Aleppo, they're trying to do it in Deir ez-Zor, in the northern stretch with the Kurds, and now with some of the Shiite coming from different parts of the world to join these kind of war zones. Now, what they have in mind, they want the rebels to be moved to Idlib. And in Idlib, you would have all the rebel groups, the extremes, the extremists and the moderate, the good guys, the bad guys, all together with more than 3 million people. And you would have another quagmire where the people there, the rebels themselves, are not on the same page. They are not a monolithic group where they're going to start fighting each other. You would have another catastrophe. Thomas Friedman wrote a very good article where he said, nobody in Syria wants the war to end. Nobody in the international community own it, fix it, so it's better to rent it. And he said it's a kind of the three-dimensional battlefield where the powder keg was invented for this kind of place, where you do not have any party who is interested in ending this suffering. And the people on the ground don't know what to do. So we need to have a peaceful outlet from this. We need to negotiate this. The international community should be sitting and trying to find a solution, because enough is enough. People are dying.
Ahmed Al-Barai, thank you very much indeed, Ahmed.